Hi and welcome to the Batch Lady, to the module course 1. This is a modular course that's going to take you through how to batch cook, okay? It's in 17 modules and this is module 1, all about equipment. Now there are many videos that I have out about various bits of equipment and it goes into great detail. This module is going to pull them all together and just explain everything to you in a general type of way. So very quickly, for an introduction of what you will need, you probably want a big pot, okay? Either a 5 or a 10 litre pot. Later on in this module, I'm going to run through all the different sort of styles of pots, the best size to get, you know, where to get them, the best style and what works for batch cooking. So it is coming up later on, but just for this intro, I'm just going to quickly chat about them. You want a big stock pot, 5 to 10 litres. You want these glass containers that have plastic lids on that can go from the freezer to the oven. And later on in the module, if you just keep watching, I'm going to go through the exact sizes that will work best for batch cooking, depending on the size of your family and also the brands, okay? But these types of things is what you want. So your pots, your dishes, you definitely want bags, freezer bags, okay? Whether they are reusable silicone, whether they're reusable PVA, or whether they are plastic, you want bags, because everything that I'm going to show you how to make in this modular course is frozen into little flat bags if possible, so that you can stack way more in your freezer. And if it's something like a fish pie or a lasagna or a moussaka, it's going to be frozen in one of these dishes, okay? And later on, well, I'm going to show you exactly in this module today, I'm going to show you all the different bags and the ones that I would recommend. One thing you will definitely want is a Sharpie pen or some chalk pens, okay? Sharpie pen, you can write on a bag that is going to be disposable. Chalk pen, you can write on things like your pots and your bags so that you know exactly what's in them. You can write the title, how many it serves, and what you're going to have it with, okay? And then these chalk pens, they dry on the bag, you can put them in the freezer and you can still read everything that's on the bag. And when you when you take it out of the freezer and you no longer need that container or the bag, it just washes off and you can reuse these again, okay? So Sharpie or chalk pen. You also want to get yourself some measuring cups. I always recommend these ones that are spoons, okay? You want them for sort of like a cup size, a half cup size. My recipes will tell you everything in grams as well, but cups work quickly. So if you're going to do the 10 meals in an hour, or you're going to do 3 for the fridge, 3 for the freezer, these types of things that we'll go through later on in this modular course, these cups work great, okay? They make it really fast for batch cooking. All of these things you will get on my website, www.batchlady.com. It's an Amazon shop, so if you've got Amazon Prime, it'll work. And whatever the price on that Amazon are selling these things on that day, that's what price it is. So I don't have much to do with the shop, but if you are looking for stuff, you will be able to find it there. We're going to go through, later on in this module, we're going to go through the difference between all the bags as well. So that is just coming up as well. Now, the only other thing, so you really don't need a lot to get started, is what I'm generally trying to say. Some pots, some measuring cups, and some things to put your food in, a marker to write what is in the freezer. And then if you want to, you may have seen me using these baggie holders, okay? These just help hold your bag open as you scoop things in and give you an extra helping hand, basically. You don't need them if you're just getting started at first. Don't worry about not having them. It's something that as you get into batch cooking, it's another helping hand and you may want to get them later, but you actually don't need them. That is all you need to get started. Now, let's jump into a video that I did a while back that talks about stock pots, the best ones to get. Here it is. So I just want to explain to you basically the best ones out there, from the most expensive to the cheapest, and reasons why I would buy a pot and the best ones to get if you're batch cooking. So in front of me, I have 3 huge pots. This one's a 15 litre, a 10 litre and a 5 litre. What I would say to you is if you're going to get started in batch cooking, then a 10 litre pot is probably a perfect one. A little 10 and a 5 litre one would be absolutely perfect, okay? These stainless steel ones are the best. This is what you really want to get, a sort of non-stick stainless steel. You want one that is going to go from the oven or the top of the hob to the oven and come back up again. So you want to make sure that you've measured your oven before you go to buy one, because the problem often is the handles, okay? The handles add that extra sort of bit to it, and the top handle as well. So you want to measure your oven and make sure that if you take your racks out, you could still get it in. So basically I would say ignore this really big one unless you're doing lots and lots of batch cooking. A 10 litre is probably going to suffice you well. Now where to buy these, okay? What I would say is IKEA at the moment, oh sorry about that, IKEA are doing a good range of these pots, okay? This sort of one. This one is, sorry, the IKEA ones come in a 3, 5 and a 10 litre, and they're sort of ranging from about £10 to £40 for your biggest one, which is a good price actually. They're not as non-stick as some of the other more quality ones, so if you do burn something in the pan, you're going to have to leave it steep and then give it a good scrub with a sort of little Brillo brush. This one here is from the Swiss Chef. Now my mother-in-law gave this to me years and years and years ago. It probably costs about £70, which is expensive for a pot. But I've probably had it for 15 years and it looks pretty much brand new. It cleans really well, nothing really sticks to it. So this is a great one. What I do want to show you though is a top tip if you're buying a good stock pot, and that's what they're called if you're looking for them online. They're called stock pots. Is this one, sometimes if I go to put it in the Aga or my oven, this bit here with the extra lidded handle is too big, you know, it's too high. I like a pan that you can turn the top over. Now this one works quite well, but something like this one works really well. It's got a little rim on it. I'm not sure if you can see that, but it's an indent, so the top of the pan here is higher than this little bit. It means that I can turn it over and it sits relatively flush and seals the edge of the pan. And then I can put it in my oven without having to worry about that big top bit. So that's one of my top tips. The IKEA ones do them as well. They fold over great. Okay, this one not so much. This is a rounded top. So I would tend to say go for this sort of bevelly shaped top, okay? Okay, so now you should know exactly what type of pot that you want to buy to get you started. Now let's look at our glass dishes and go through all the different sizes. Here's a video that I did on it before, and it explains it in complete detail so you'll know exactly what you're doing by the end of the couple of minute video. Here goes. Right, so sizes. We're going to start with this big one. Okay, this big one is 23 centimeters by 28 centimeters. It's quite a big one. I don't use this that often because it serves 8. So if we're going to talk lasagnas, okay, because it's that type of thing that you're going to put in it. So imagine something like a lasagna, moussaka, enchiladas, you know, anything that you're putting on it in a dish like this for the freezer. So I would say this serves about 6 to 8 because it's deep as well. So it is 10 centimeters deep. Okay, so that's quite a big one. Again, wouldn't use it a great deal. Now the size that I use all the time that will be of interest to you guys is this one. Okay, this size is 20 centimeters by 25 centimeters. I would say it feeds a large portion for 4 or a small portion for 6. Okay, so 4, 5 and a small 6 depending on what you want. They're never just going to be a 4. If I was designing them myself, I would love to do one that I knew was an exact 4. It's probably more a squarer type version. Okay, so this one 20 centimeters by 25 centimeters, 8.5 centimeters deep, and this is your bog standard use all the time one. If you're making my family meals for 4, this is the one that you want. 20 centimeters by 25. This one has got another really good lid. I'm going to come on to lids as soon as I've just finished with the sizes. If you are cooking for 2 to 3, then you're going down to this sort of one. 17 centimeters by 24, the same sort of design. It serves a very large 2 and a normal size 3. So I'd say that's about a 3. And then you also get to your 2 size, which is very small. I mean, it's 14 centimeters by 19, but it's quite shallow in depth. If you're making a lasagna for 2, this works, but you are going to get a thin one, okay? So it just depends. It's unfortunate it's slightly a smaller one, but you're going to end up trying to get your layers is quite tricky, okay? I would tend to use the 2 to 3 one if you're going to do for a 2-person. And you'd have a bit left over for a lunch rather than trying to work out how you manage to get the lid on this one. And then you get these diddy little ones, and you get these in like Home Bargains, Home Basics, B&M stores, really quite cheap, quite handy. I don't know what I'd use this tiny little one for. All I would say is it probably would serve an exact 1 person, 1 portion. So maybe if I was feeding some oldie relatives and it was just 1 person, I wanted to make up lots of different ones, that would be quite a nice Christmas present if I gave you 10 little individual meals, so you could do that. So that's all your different sizes. Let's get to brands, okay? So you get all different brands. What you need to watch out for is a lot of them don't go straight from the freezer into the oven, okay? They'll generally tell you when you buy them in the packaging. There's a few that do. The best ones that you can buy, obviously, are usually the most expensive ones, but Pyrex are the best ones, I would say, just because they do a freezer to oven range. And that's the one to look out for, so you don't need to worry about glass shattering or anything. So if you've got a fish pie, you want to cook it from frozen, or a lasagna, you just take the lid off and throw it straight in. So if you want to buy the best ones, I would say you want to go to anywhere that does Pyrex. Okay, so now we are halfway through the module and you should have a great idea of the pots and the containers that you want to buy to get yourself started. Now I want to talk to you about bags, okay? There's all different types of bags, so I'm going to start off with plastic, okay, which we used to use all the time. I'm going to go on in a minute after that and talk about silicone and PEVA. But at the moment, let's talk about plastic. So these types of bags, okay? Now these can be reused, they can be washed out and reused a few times, but they do have a relatively short lifespan, okay? I tend to reuse mine quite a lot, and then I keep them in a big bag and I use them for things for the kids taking like trainers to school and all that sort of thing. So they start off as food bags and move on to other things. These are still relevant and handy if you are doing things like spaghetti bolognese, chili, things that are going to discolor other bags. So if I've got some reusable bags are quite expensive. You don't always want them to go bright orange straight away. These types of bags are quite good for that. So I tend to use bags like this when I know I don't want to use my reusable ones. There are all different brands and it can be a little bit confusing. So I'm just going to go through some of the main brands, okay? You've got Ziploc. This is an American brand and they come in all different sizes and you'll generally get them from Costco. You've got Bacofoil. These are another fantastic, really thick, sturdy bag. Fantastic zip on them. The same with Ziploc. These ones tend to never leak, okay? And again, these are available in Costco, and I think you can now get them in some supermarkets as well. I would thoroughly recommend these 2 brands when you are bagging up things like chili and spaghetti bolognese or curries that you don't want to leak, okay? You want them very securely sealed in quite a thick bag so they don't get chipped at the edges if you're moving them around your freezer, okay? This sort of medium is the size that you are looking for. This one is actually a variety pack, but you're looking for the medium size if you're feeding a family of 4, okay? 4 to 6 is the medium size. It's a 3-litre bag. If you are feeding a family of 1 to 2 and there's just a couple of you, you're looking for the small size in terms of this one, okay? Moving on, we also have IKEA bags. I thoroughly recommend these. These are very good. You want this grey one, 2.5 litres, which is 3 quarts on one side, and then it's a 1.2 litre. So it's a box that's got 2 sets of bags in it and 2 different sizes. It's got a grey one and a white one. This grey one is perfect for a 4-portioned meal, 4 to 5, and this little white one is perfect for a 2-person meal. So if you're freezing flat, these are the IKEA ones that I recommend for 2 to 4 portions, or you could go as much as 5 and 3 portions. Then they do a very small one that has 2 smaller bags in it. If you're a 1 person, this little red box is going to work very well for you. And finally, in terms of bags, you can also get these bags called Tip and Zip, okay? And they're in very cheap shops like Home Bargains and Poundland and things like that. And these bags are plastic bags again that you generally want to use for things like soups. They have a flat bottom on them, so your soup will stand upright once it's frozen, and you can sort of turn them around so you can stack them up. These soup bags are very good. You don't desperately need them, but they do help. And if you get them in a cheap shop, they're generally about £1 for a pack of, I think there's 10 in there. They're washable and you can reuse them again a few times. That is as much as you need to know about using bags, and we'll now move on and go and look at using reusable washable bags. Okay, so very quickly, let's touch on reusable bags, and that's pretty much as finished for all of our equipment, okay? So reusable bags, you can buy silicone, okay? It's a thick sort of rubberized sort of feeling bag, okay? There's all different styles out there that you can get. You can look on the website shop as well. It shows you different ones. I am not a fan compared to these PEVA ones, but it is your absolute choice of what you prefer. I do like the silicone bags, but it depends what brands are out there. This PEVA is sort of an in-between silicone and the plastic. So they're like a harder sort of bag you can see in them, and they zip up. There is all different brands of these out there because they're generally coming from somewhere like China, okay? But I do just want to go through the styles. There's ones that have a flat bottom, okay, that you can use, say you were putting a pie or something in. These are good, but the flat bottom means that you end up with some air in the bag, and so it's not always as sealed airtight as you want. You do get plenty that have no flat bottom. They're just little thin ones. These work very well. They're probably my favorite PEVA ones. You can write on them, wash them off. You just wash and reuse them over and over again by wash them out. Make sure you get right into the corners and stand them up like this, okay? And you get little ones like, say, the snacker bag that's just the smaller size of it. So again, you're looking for sort of a 3 litre and maybe a 1.5 litre. If you're 1.5 for 2 people, 3 litre for 4 people. But quite often when you're looking for these, it is confusing, I'm afraid, because they keep changing the sizes and the brands. So every time I do a video, it's harder to update because it changes every couple of weeks on Amazon. But reusable bags, you're using your chalk marker with them and washing them and reusing them again. So it's as simple as that, guys. We've gone into it in lots of detail in this module. I hope you feel really confident now about the equipment that you do need. It's really quite simple. Big pot, some containers, some bags, pens to write on. Let's get batching. I'll see you in module 2.